Grab your Eye of Agamotto and don your Cloak of Levitation. Today we're talking Doctor Strange. This is For Geeks by Geeks.
Let's geek out! This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Secret Door Games, located at 215 Main Street in downtown Elkhart. You can stop in weekly for game nights and game tutorials, and you can find their entire schedule of upcoming events on their Facebook page. So go say hi to our friends at Secret Door Games, where you can find new ways to have fun.
Welcome back to For Geeks by Geeks, place where geeks come to geek out. As always, I'm PK.
And I am Bozer!
And today we have a very special geek guest,
Dr. Lindsay Strange.
Yes!
So, if it's your first time to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. And for those of you who have been hiding under a rock and don't know what Doctor Strange is, why don't you give us a little overview of what that might be?
Sure. So, Doctor Strange began as Dr. Stephen Strange. He was a neurosurgeon and really kind of a big, gigantic jerk about it. Very self-involved, very self-motivated, very self-centered. Then suddenly, his life is completely changed forever when he ends up in a very serious car accident and completely loses the use of his hands. So the nerves are completely damaged. He can't perform surgery anymore. He ends up kind of going on this soul journey to try to find a way to fix his hands so he can get back to his normal life. Mm-hmm. And then through that, ends up being taught by the Ancient One and ends up eventually becoming Master of the Mystic Arts.
Sorcerer Supreme, the man we all love today.
Protector of our realm here. I think as far as original character design in a Marvel Studios, Doctor Strange is definitely in its league of his own.
Oh, definitely. Very, very unique.
Yeah. So then, why? Because we know you're very passionate about Doctor Strange.
Very much so.
You came to the studio today, like, with 3 cups of Doctor Strange in a t-shirt. We know you're
Supreme.
super into cosplay. If you haven't already, follow this girl, Dr. Lindsay Strange, on Instagram. It's insane the things that she can do.
Links in the description below.
Please, but tell us, what do you geek out about Doctor Strange? Why?
Everything. Like, he's just so stinking cool. Like, when I first kind of started gravitating towards him, it was mostly just because he was just so unique as a superhero.
Right.
Like, in the grand scheme of things in the Marvel Universe, like, there really is nobody else like him. And just, like, the journey that he goes on, in a way, like, I think it's so strange. Like, he's Master of the Mystic Arts. Yeah, right. He's Master of the Mystic Arts, which is something that's so, like, I mean, given that he's, like, very ingrained in the multiverse, like, it's so otherworldly and it's so outside of us, but, like, at the same time, he's so human in the sense of just, like, where he came from and just the journey that he went on to become who he is. Like, he starts off seeking one thing that's very self-involved and just very, like, just, you know, I want to do the thing that I want to do, but then ends up somewhere that's just so selfless. Like, it's just such a unique change, and it's just so human, and I think it's something that we can all kind of gravitate towards, but it's also just, like, it's also so bizarre and so just kind of crazy, the things that he does, and I just think it's, like, it's just so unique, and I just think it's so cool.
Yeah, you touched on that selfless thing. That's, like, one of my favorite. I'm wearing my Civil War shirt, because it's the only shirt with Doctor Strange that I have.
There he is.
Here he is. But one of my favorite panels in that entire comic, the main comic, not all the offshoots, is that they're contacting Doctor Strange and they're like, help us, you could end this. And he's like, you're right, I could, but it's not my place.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And he's 100% focused, and it was such self-discipline, realizing, like, my job is to protect our dimension, our realm, from other dimensional enemies and threats.
Right.
Like, this is your fight. I'm not going to get involved. And I'm just like, I wish I had that self-discipline.
Right, yeah. It's so easy for us to pick sides in anything, and just, like, even just knowing himself and knowing that the power that he has, but still being able to be like, you know what, it's better that I don't. That restraint, I feel like, is, you know, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Like,
Are you a fan, PK, of Doctor Strange?
I like the movie a lot, so I don't know much about him in the comic book aspect or anything like that. For me, it's always been Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes.
Which I love him as an actor, so like
Perfect casting choice.
Literally perfect.
Oh yeah.
I learned today that it was this close to being Joaquin Phoenix.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Oh my goodness.
And now we're in the realm of like Joker's about to come out in a few weeks, so it's just so
They
interesting.
switch roles. Could you imagine if Benedict Cumberbatch
Oh my
played
gosh.
like the Joker and then Joaquin Phoenix played Doctor Strange?
I mean, no offense to Joaquin, but Benedict could do either.
Yes.
That's true, but I don't think Joaquin would do such a good job in Doctor Strange. Like, the fact that it came down to like this
Yeah.
kind of confuses me just a bit. But
Yeah.
I love Joaquin. Like
He's
I love,
incredible,
was
yeah.
It, not Stand Tall. What am I talking about? Walk the Line.
Walk the Line is
Yeah, yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, he did incredible as Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm very excited to see him play the Joker.
Right.
Let's talk about that sometime. But like, I
Yeah.
just think Benedict Cumberbatch, like, if you watch him even just in Sherlock alone,
Yeah.
that right there would have sold me that he's the perfect person to do this. This
Yeah.
cocky, arrogant person.
Yep.
And I also don't think they give Doctor Strange nearly enough credit for how intelligent he is.
Right.
Like his ability to absorb and master
Yeah.
sorcery because of his hyper-intelligence, and he's got what's it when you can remember everything you read and see.
I don't know. It's like a real life superpower. though.
Like photographic memory.
Yeah, he basically has photographic
Like
memory,
next
so anything
level.
he
Yeah.
sees,
Yeah.
he can retain,
Yeah.
and that's why he's so good at it.
Yeah.
That's something else that I love about Doctor Strange. It's like, you know, like looking at the film, like when he's talking with the Ancient One about like how to actually practice the mystic arts, like that it came down to study and practice. Like I love that Doctor Strange and like the whole, you know, comic and film series surrounding Doctor Strange, like it values knowledge and intelligence and studying like so much. And like as a former teacher, like I think that's super cool. Like
Yeah.
he studied to become who he became, and I just think that's so cool. Like if you can apply yourself, you too can become master of the mystic arts.
Yeah,
So-
it makes it so approachable
Right,
for all
yeah,
of us. It's not like I'm a huge Spidey fan, but I can't tell how many times I wish a spider would just come bite me and give me the superpowers. But in his world, if you study and if you just
Right.
put the work in, you can achieve so much and become Sorcerer Supreme.
And one of the things I
Incredible.
really loved was that his hands weren't working, and that was just this wall. And the definition of insanity is to do the exact same thing over and over and over and
Right.
expect different results.
Uh-huh.
And he was so sure that because he didn't have his hands, he couldn't do it, but he kept trying, same exact way and same exact thought pattern. And it just shows that, like, if you just think outside of the box, if you just change your thought process, the world opens up to you.
Right.
And she showed that with that guy without an arm.
Right,
He literally was
yeah.
still able to do all the spells. And I was like, this is it. It's all about like perception and the way you think.
Right.
And you
And
put
how
those two things
limited we are by our own worldview.
Right.
If you're just open to new thoughts. Yeah, we can go for days. But so you do cosplay a
I do.
lot.
I do.
So tell us about that journey of how you landed on I want to be Dr. Lindsay Strange. I want to cosplay as him. I want to. What resonates with him?
Yeah, so when I first began cosplaying, I'm also a huge Whovian, and so like my first cosplay that I did was actually River Song. And,
Nice!
Oh, that's so cool. I
You're
see
a
that,
perfect
yeah.
River Song!
I love River so much, and that cosplay took a lot of planning, but that one, like, I consider that to be like closet cosplay. So like I just found all the right things and put it together.
Yeah.
Like I didn't actually have to make anything for River.
It's a great intro to
and-
cosplay.
Yeah, definitely. Like it still took a lot of planning, and I had to find all the right pieces, but like I didn't actually have to go too far outside of my comfort zone to put that one together. And when I choose a character to cosplay as, like I like to find like a piece of them that I feel like I can resonate with, even if it's just a very small thing.
Yeah.
I consider myself and River to be very different, but one thing that I feel like I connect with her on is the fact that she is fiercely loyal and she loves so deeply and she really cares about people. But I feel like she's also very outside of me in the fact that she's like super confident and flirtatious and sexy and like all those things, and I'm like, that's not me. But she's so loyal. She's so loyal to the doctor. She's so loyal to the people in her
Yeah.
life, and so like that was something that I'm like, you know what, I admire her so much for that like I want to emulate her, and so that's why I chose to cosplay as her. Once I really started to get to know a lot more about Doctor Strange, because it really wasn't too long before the movie started really being advertised that like I started reading up on Doctor Strange comics, because I saw that it was going to be coming out, and I'm like, I don't know anything about him, and so I want to learn about him, and so I started reading. I've read through most of his appearances in Strange Tales, so from the 1960s, and I just really started to fall in love with Stephen Strange. Like I just admire him so much and just his journey, and I feel like a lot of his journey is reflected in my own. So you know, he goes through the experience of, you know, he has this very set picture of what his life is supposed to look like,
Yeah.
and then just one event just completely took it away and changed it, and then he goes on his journey and then finds something completely different than what he ever could have expected. And that was really like with my own personal journey.
Really?
So I was diagnosed with cancer 6 years ago, and before that I had just a very concrete picture of, you know, what I wanted to do with my life and what my own timeline was. And then when that happened, just completely changed everything. Like, I had to give up certain opportunities in order to undergo treatment and all that kind of thing, and just really was kind of, you know, kind of left thinking like, what next? Like, I honestly don't know. And so it was really through that journey that like I ended up on a completely different path than what I ever could have expected, and kind of just like strange, like it ended up being so much better than what I could have expected. And so just feeling like I could connect with him on that, like once I really started being introduced to the character, I'm like, you know what, like I really care about this character, and like I feel like I really connect with this character, and so I want to do this. And definitely the most effort I have ever put into a cosplay. It was the first one that I've ever actually made. So with the help of my mother, who is an angel and an amazing seamstress.
Shout out to Mom. My mom helps me all the time with my cosplay.
Oh my gosh. So we worked on that together, and by the time we started assembling all of the materials that we needed and like working on the design, by the time it was actually finished, it took about like 6 months. So it took a long time, but it was so worth it, because just like that whole journey of putting that all together, like it really was a labor of love. And so by the time we were completely finished with it, and by the time I figured out, you know, everything else I was doing with it as far as hair and makeup, it was just like, it just felt so worth it. And like just the fact that I get to portray this character who like I just really deeply feel like I relate to and connect with and just love so much is really just such an honor.
I love that. Because there is a lot of detail in that cosplay. If you haven't seen her, we first met at C2E2 in Chicago, and since then we've just been following your journey, and I think we just got connected through social media. And you're like, I love Dr. Strange. We're like, please, let's come talk about it. So we're so glad that you accepted the invitation.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation.
Yes, of course. That's what we're all about, just geeking out loud.
I know you love Doctor Strange, and I kind of thought, I know like this isn't about a cosplay thing, but like, are there certain avenues of cosplay that you're like, oh, I'm gonna go, like this is like what I want to do next, or do you think you're just gonna continue to advance your Doctor Strange cosplay? Because I know there's like a lot you can add.
Yeah, a little bit of both. So yeah, like I love all the like the little details that I have with my Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite pieces that like hardly anybody ever notices because it's kind of covered by my sleeve, but I actually bought a watch specifically to break it. So the watch that he puts on at the end of the film. Oh my gosh, smashing that with a hammer was so much fun. But I love that little piece of it because like I feel like, you know, like since that was from Christine, and like you know, the fact that he took it with him all the way to Camertage, like, you know, I like it's important to him, and so I'm like I want to have that with it as well. The next thing that I want to do with Strange is the orange gloves that he has. So usually in the comics, and then he had them on in Thor Ragnarok.
And they abandoned it because they didn't like it.
Yeah.
It didn't look well in camera.
Right,
really?
yeah.
Yeah, so you'll notice on Thor Ragnarok he has the gloves.
Yeah.
Oh, I
But then he
notice.
didn't have it again in Infinity War.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't translate super well onto screen. They thought it looked a little too cheesy and comic-y and gimmicky. I thought they looked. I like it.
It's a
personally.
comic book movie.
I know, exactly.
I personally liked it.
What's wrong with looking comic
Right.
And there's a chance they bring him back, but like you will notice that if you watch in Thor, he's got it, and in a minute it was like never happened.
Yeah. It never happened again. But like it's a thing that he has throughout the comics, and so I'm like, you know what, like I want to have that add to the comics eventually. But gloves are actually really hard to make, so I'm kind of like putting that one off for a little while. But as far as other cosplays, I just recently finished my Wednesday Addams cosplay, and so I was excited about that because that was kind of again stretching some boundaries as far as like honing into new skills and stuff like that. So it was the most experimental makeup I've ever done.
Yeah, I can remember like all white.
Right.
You said that you like to cosplay people that you identify a little bit. So where's the Wednesday Addams in you?
I also can find myself being quite sassy like Wednesday. But also like Wednesday kind of taps into my spooky side a little bit. Like I'm not really into horror. I scare too easily. But I love things that are like the lighthearted spooky, like the Tim Burton-y kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up watching like the Munsters a lot, and then, you know, got into the Addams Family when I was a little bit older, and so it's kind of like that lighthearted spooky that like that's always been a part of me. Like when I was teeny tiny little kid, like Nightmare Before Christmas has always been my favorite movie. And so it's just kind of like a side of me that I'm like, I want to do something in that area. Like maybe one day I'll attempt a Sally. Who knows? That would also be probably really hard.
Yeah.
That would probably be really hard. But yeah, just so
If you can do Doctor Strange that you've done, you can handle a Sally dress.
sewing is so different from makeup though, because like what would be hard with Sally would be the makeup.
Yeah, because like
Okay.
stitching. And you
I'd have to
get
probably like
patches.
body paint, like that
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
I've never done that, so but. I mean,
You
if
have
I
a world
can,
in that.
if I can paint my face for Wednesday, I can probably attempt a Sally, maybe
Well,
one day.
All you cosplayers out there watching, go ahead and give us some comments below. Give us some tips, because you help her take her
Please.
cosplays to the next level.
Please help.
So then, you've read the comics. You said you've read a lot of the Strange
Strange Tales, yeah.
Because that's where they first debuted him.
Right, mhm.
They weren't sure quite how he would set, so they
Right.
put like a 5-page filler
Yeah.
with the Human Torch. So then, how do you feel that the movies have done him justice according to the comics?
Right. I really feel like they really did him justice.
Really?
Even if the story itself wasn't directly from Strange Tales, they so mastered his character. Like honestly, and like kind of like what we were talking about. Like I don't know if anybody but Benedict could have done it that well.
He looks the part. He can
He looks
act
the part.
face off the part.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Like he just, from the very beginning, like that really egotistical, just very.
Just immediately hooked. You're like
You immediately, it's like, yes, that is Stephen Strange, and then just the transformation that he went through, like I feel like he did that with such care. Because even by the time he gets to Camartage, it wasn't like immediately as soon as he started practicing the mystic arts that he was automatically like this selfless, wonderful person.
no,
Like
he
it
was
took
humble, he was selfish.
right. It took time. It took time for him to really find a motivation outside of himself, and
Yeah.
I felt like he really. Just emulated that perfectly, and especially by the end of it, like it's like yes, this is to a T. This is Doctor Strange.
Perfect.
But I'm also really biased, and I just love Benedict. But
For shame.
and
It's
just
hard not to. He's so good.
he's so good.
And
but-
as actors, like I so appreciate that he does take the time to look for those nuances, and you can
Oh,
tell
yeah.
that he doesn't just show up. Like maybe he plays an egotistical character really well, and I guess I don't know him in life, but you can't do what he does with an ego thinking, yep, I've got this. Because you wouldn't put the work in that he's clearly doing.
Yeah.
So
Well-
thank you, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Thank you.
When you watch this video, you know.
If we're on that vein, I like to give a shout out to Leonardo DiCaprio for doing that kind of stuff too, where he has those like little ticks and like bodies and things.
Oh, yeah.
Benedict does too. Just in case he watches this and you want to know.
Just in case you watch
I
this.
watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I thought it was super good. So, you know, you're a super fan. I'm a super fan.
If you want to come on the show anytime, you know, we'll try to fit you in. So if you had to pick one thing that maybe the MCU hasn't quite nailed, is there something that you could even mention?
Specifically with Strange,
Yeah.
I just want more of him. Honestly.
Why don't we have more Stephen Strange?
I just want more Stephen Strange. Seriously. The gloves, yeah.
Well, as of San Diego Comic-Con, we're getting more Stephen Strange. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so Feige said this is going to be MCU's first horror movie.
Yes.
Oh, a horror movie?
We're gonna make the first scary MCU film.
Yes.
Not, I didn't watch. I'm a bad geek. I didn't watch the panel.
Come on.
That was my
Yeah.
thing.
Step it up, come on.
You said you like spooky, but you don't love horror. So
I know. I'll
Share.
I'll bear through it for Doctor Strange. I will. I'm super excited. I think, especially with it being a Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch team up, I think that's going to be epic. I can't wait. I honestly can't wait.
So, okay, what's your theories? Here's a little quick theory video on it. Multiverse of Madness. What's gonna happen? Who's the villain? What's gonna happen? How's Scarlet Witch tied into it?
Yeah, you know, I don't have many theories just because I mostly, I like going into it surprised. But my very baseline theory that I haven't totally thought through at all, since they're saying that it's supposed to be a horror film, I kind of have to wonder if Nightmare's going to be involved. Which I think would be really, really cool. I think being able to explore that would
I would
be
love to see it.
that would be so exciting. I think that'd be so cool. He's one of my favorite Strange villains, and
Yeah.
so I think if he's incorporated into that somehow, I think that'd be really, really cool.
Yeah.
As far as Scarlet Witch's involvement, I really don't know. Like, but I think whatever it's gonna be incredible.
But I think they're cool because they had an animated movie where Nightmare was like the main villain.
Oh right,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And then
uh-huh.
they were like, how his kids are in a dream. Like, if they took that movie and brought it to life, just look
That
at
would be terrifying.
Right. Just the idea of like, hey, so the multiverse has shattered all these people, and like something's come out, and like these kids are having memories of like all the things, and
Yeah.
they've gone comatose. We think, we don't know, and then Scarlet Witch can like read into them. Like,
Right.
it could be really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to see them.
I've heard a theory that Nightmare is going to be the villain, and because of the whole snap. Like in Far From Home, spoilers if you haven't seen Far From Home, skip
on you
ahead
at this point.
10 seconds.
Right.
But the theory is, while Quentin Beck was lying that he was from the multiverse, the fact that the multiverse exists is not a lie,
Right.
clearly, because we saw that in the first Doctor Strange.
Right.
But because of the snap, it did actually weaken the bond between the realms, and so Nightmare kind of is able to have more control over our world.
That makes sense.
And because normally he just can kind of influence us through our dreams kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now he has more power, and so now Doctor Strange has to protect our realm like you do on a daily basis, Stephen, thank you, and shut that guy down.
Yeah.
And with Scarlet Witch, because she's got that kind of reality bending powers, that she can come in clutch.
Now, at the end of the first movie, we see
Mordo.
Yeah.
start to take his first steps into being a villain.
Right.
Do we think we'll see him kind of make a play in this as well?
You
or
know,
is he just gonna be gone?
I definitely they're building up to it, and that's another thing that I found really interesting about the first film, that we got to see Mordo pre-villain, because right off the bat in Strange Tales he's already the villain, and he's already like arch nemesis aside from Dormammu, even though they team up. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because since they were setting it up, you have to think that we're going to see a little bit more of that development into Mordo becoming more of a villain. So yeah, I'm curious to see how that's going to play out.
Otherwise, it's just going to end up one of those post-credit scenes that goes nowhere.
Right.
Thanks, Marvel. Thanks, what's his name?
Adam?
Adam,
Yes,
so
yeah.
far.
Yeah, so far.
Wait, I think a horror movie from MCU. Now, part of me is scared, like, they might say it's going to be a horror movie just to get us to come to theaters, but it's really not going to be
Like
that
minor
scary.
movie.
Yeah, it's just
Minor
spoopy in the way that it's like, oh, we're dealing with nightmares. But I guess seeing what they did with Far From Home, with the Mysterio stuff, I'm hoping it's less CGI than that.
Yeah.
Really, I like that. I liked the when he went into that sequence, just like him going through and
Oh yeah.
I kept thinking, I'm like, okay, if I were to have him do it differently, how would I have done it? Being that I had like unlimited budget. So it just felt super like video game to me. So like me being the video gamer playing like that exact scene somewhere, I'm like, oh, this is really great. But I hope that it does feel more real. It does actually feel like,
because Nightmares can be more
jump
realistic.
scares. Yeah.
Oh, that's the other thing. Nightmare's got actual powers. This guy was using video CGI,
Yeah.
so you have
So
to
this is
put,
real.
Right,
Yeah.
that's another thing where you have to put in, like, maybe they're doing the CGI because it was technically
Sure.
Yeah, that makes
CGI.
sense. I feel like Marvel has done well with all within the realms of the MCU. Like, they've done so many different things playing with genre that I feel like they've done well. Like, you know, we have like straight up action, we have comedy. Looking at like Winter Soldier, that's like straight up like espionage, you know?
Yeah.
Like suspense thriller, and so I feel, and like even the first Doctor Strange was very unique from anything else that they've done, and so
yeah.
I feel
Super
like they.
metaphysical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite was like the footage and like bending the world,
Yes.
like when she like did that, like the world started like.
Oh my goodness.
Super
It was-
Inception.
Right,
You're like,
yeah.
oh, we're
it's
back in Paris.
unbelievable.
Here we go.
It was unbelievable. The first time I saw it in theaters, because I definitely saw it more than once. Like
Duh.
the first time I saw it
How
was
many
in
times?
4. The first 2 times I saw it was actually in 3D, and so like seeing those sequences in 3D, it was like, oh my gosh, like unbelievable. And so I'm confident that with playing with a new genre, like they plan on doing with Multiverse of Madness, like they've done well with that so far.
Yeah.
And so I have high hopes.
Of all of the things coming that aren't on Disney Plus, which are very few, I'm really excited because I'm not paying for Disney Plus.
Really? Oh, I will. We can share it. It's fine.
Okay, buy a 4 Geeks Buy Geeks package for
Well,
Disney
if
Plus.
you'd like to be a part of that, you want to just pitch in and I'll share a subscription, go ahead and comment
Description
below.
below.
Give me your username, password.
We can only have 7 devices though, so don't go
We
crazy.
gotta go for our premium membership over at our what are those things called? Like, we don't actually have one.
Patreon,
Oh yeah,
Ko-Fi,
Oh,
just like
go to our Patreon
pay
page.
for our coffee. But thank you so much for coming on today. We
Thanks for having
love
me.
this. So they can find you on Instagram at
They can
Dr.
find me on
Lindsay
Instagram,
Strange.
yep.
Anywhere else?
Just Instagram.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And your Instagram, it's been growing. Like, we've been watching it. You've been doing such a great job, super solid.
Thank you.
The community is just wrapping themselves around what you've been doing.
It's been unreal. I love that the cosplay community is one that is so encouraging, because I definitely don't think I would have felt confident enough to expand my horizons and try new things and everything. And so, yeah, the encouragement and the support means so much, and yeah, it's just a really fun thing to be a part of.
And in turn, you are shining a beacon for all of you at home that maybe are on the brink of geeking out loud. You're just like whispering your geek right now. But then you see what like Dr. Lindsay's doing. So you're just join her, join all of us. Join
Go
this
for
great-
it. Go for it.
Yeah.
It's worth it. It's so worth it.
But while you're on her Instagram, go ahead and check out our Instagram, 4Geeks by Geeks, or on Facebook, join our Geek Out Loud community on Facebook group. On Twitter, we just are really trying to build a judgment-free, positive community where all of you can feel safe to geek out loud. And a lot of us don't have a strong community in life where you can share all this stuff with. So let us be that place that you can share all that.
Yeah. So, until next time, I'm PK,
I am Bozer.
I'm Dr. Lindsay Strange.
and you just keep
Geeking
out.
out!